Rude talk show host confronts Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, but their response stuns the audience. The crowd erupted in applause as Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock walked onto the talk show stage, flashing their signature warm smiles. They took their seats across from the host, a man notorious for his cutting remarks and no-holds-barred interviews. As the claps died down, the host leaned forward, smirking. "All right, let's cut to the chase," he said. "You two have been in Hollywood for decades. Aren't you getting? I don't know. Too old for this." A murmur of surprise rippled through the audience. Some chuckled uncomfortably. Others waited for a response. Keanu tilted his head slightly, a faint smile forming. "You mean acting?" The host shrugged. "Yeah, the industry loves young blood. Maybe it's time to pass the torch." Sandra pursed her lips, then leaned back, arms crossed. "So what you're saying is, once you hit a certain age, you should just disappear." The host smirked. "Well, not disappear, but, make room." Keanu chuckled softly. "I didn't realize storytelling had an age limit." The audience roared with applause. Sandra nodded. "Yeah, imagine if we said that to directors, writers, musicians. Sorry you've been doing this too long. Pack it up." Keanu leaned in. "Or to talk show hosts." The audience exploded into laughter. The host raised his hands in mock surrender. All right. Point taken." He shuffled his note cards, then smirked. "But let's be honest. Hollywood loves scandal, and yet you two have somehow stayed boring. How do you do it?" Sandra gasped dramatically. "Boring? Keanu, did you hear that? We're boring." Keanu pretended to look concerned. "I should probably get arrested or something." The audience howled with laughter. Sandra turned back to the host. "We're not boring, we're just not dumb." Another round of cheers erupted. The host sighed, shaking his head. "Okay, fine. You win. But before you go, tell me, what's one thing people don't know about you?" Keanu thought for a moment, then smiled. "I like to randomly compliment strangers." Sandra raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Keanu turned to the host. "Nice suit." The audience went wild. The host burst out laughing. "All right, I give up. You two are impossible to rattle." The show wrapped with a standing ovation. The host had tried to trip them up, but Keanu and Sandra had done what they always did, handled it all with grace, humor, and charm. As the applause filled the studio, the host shook his head, still grinning. "All right, before I let you two go, I have to ask, do you ever get tired of people constantly talking about how nice you are?" Keanu and Sandra exchanged amused glances. Sandra smirked. "Oh, it's exhausting." Keanu nodded seriously. "Yeah, every morning I wake up and think, I have to be kind again today." The audience erupted in laughter. The host chuckled, rubbing his temples. I was really hoping to get a dramatic moment out of you two." Sandra shrugged. "Sorry to disappoint. We try to keep things light." Keanu smiled. "Life's heavy enough as it is." The room fell silent for a brief moment, just long enough for that truth to sink in. Then the audience broke into applause again, this time louder and more heartfelt. The host sighed in defeat, but clapped along with them. "Well, I guess that's why everyone loves you." Sandra leaned in. "We are kind of lovable." Keanu smirked. "But not boring." The host laughed, standing up. "Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, everyone. The only two people in Hollywood who can outclass a talk show host in his own studio." The audience rose to their feet, giving the duo a standing ovation as the outro music played. As they waved to the crowd and walked off stage, one thing was clear. No matter how hard anyone tried, Keanu and Sandra would always handle everything with grace, humor, and undeniable charm. As Keanu and Sandra made their way off stage, the cameras caught one last candid moment between them. Sandra nudged Keanu playfully. We really should have given him one dramatic answer just to keep things interesting." Keanu smirked. "Next time, we'll pretend we're in a secret Hollywood feud." Sandra gasped, playing along. "Oh, absolutely. Keanu stole my parking spot in 1994 and I never forgave him." Keanu chuckled. "The scandal of the century." The two laughed as they disappeared backstage, leaving behind a roaring audience, a humbled talk show host, and yet another reminder of why they were two of Hollywood's most beloved stars. As the cameras faded to black and the show officially ended, the host leaned back in his chair, shaking his head with a grin. "Well, that didn't go as planned." His producer chuckled from behind the scenes. "You thought you could rattle Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock? Rookie mistake." Backstage, Keanu and Sandra were still laughing as they walked down the hallway. A staff member approached them hesitantly. "That was amazing. I think you just gave us the best episode of the season." Sandra winked. "We aim to please." Keanu gave a small nod, or at least confused the host. They stepped outside into the night, greeted by a fresh breeze and the distant hum of the city. A small group of fans was waiting by the exit, holding up cameras and memorabilia. Sandra turned to Keanu with a knowing smile. "We're not getting out of here quickly, are we?" Keanu chuckled. "Nope." Without hesitation, the two walked over, taking time to greet each fan with genuine warmth, because that's just who they were. Even after the show ended, they continued doing what they did best, making people smile.